That was indeed a great session. So thank you for all of those speakers. For those of you who are just like tuning in to the 5 hours of YouTube marketing and SEO webinar provided by Semrush, this next session is going to be focusing on YouTube advertising. My name is Bengü Atamer. I'm the co-founder of Buzz My Videos, and I am being joined by Kamil Tavas, who is a digital media expert, and he happens to work at Google currently. So he's just going to walk us through some of the great formats of advertising for any business type. And if you would like to see the previous sessions, we've been going since 6 p.m. UK time for the last 2 hours. They will be available on the Semrush webinars website. And please do let us know where you're joining from. Please be interactive. And I will be taking some questions later on. After Kamil's session, I'm going to be presenting another session. With that, I'm just going to leave it over to you, Kamil, to first of all introduce yourself and
Sure.
and then also to walk us through your presentation.
Sure. Thank you very much, Bengü, for the introduction. It's such a day, it's such a marathon, like all the subjects about YouTube. And I've been listening to the previous conversations, and what I liked about it is that knowing your audience is really important. I think the things that I'm going to talk about now in the advertisement, that's really crucial as well. That just wanted to quote it from Harry, that sentence. So I've been working in Google for some time. I've been in the YouTube team as well, and currently I'm in marketing and sales with Google. So by the way, it's so strange, like these days, as we all know, like we don't see the audience, but we're talking to a screen. I hope you're all there, and somehow to make sure that you're there, you can always reach out to me from my LinkedIn account, and you can find my name there. I will open my presentation now and kick it off. Sorry, if you bear with me. Okay. Suppose you can all see my presentation, right, Bengü? It's everything's like I'll mute.
Yes, we can see your presentation. All good, Kamil.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So I have a lot of subjects, so I try to make it more compact for everyone because I know there's so many people out there. So some of you may have an idea about YouTube advertisement, and some of you might already know a lot. So I'm sure at least each of you will have one takeaway. So when you think of your advertisement on YouTube, you have to think of the 4 pillars first. When you think of the formats, when I say formats, these are the YouTube video ads, video formats, which I'm going to go into in a minute. And the other thing is the audience, which I already highlighted that, and that's your target audience. And creative is very crucial. I'm going to also touch upon that as well with some guidelines. And tracking. Tracking is measurement, like how are you going to measure your success? How are you going to measure if your videos has been working well or not? So this is all about that. So in a nutshell, we can call it facts. Let's start with formats and tracking. I think this is one of the best slides that I've been presenting lately, because it literally summarizes all the media formats in one slide of YouTube. Again, first of all, you have to think of your marketing objectives. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to create awareness or reach out to as much as people you want? Or do you want to get people think about your advertisement and get engaged with your advertisement content? Or do you want people to get converted? So first of all, you have to define what you want to do, what you want to achieve from this advertisement. And we came up with see, think, do, and care. Some of you might know. I think it's a great a narrative that stays in people's mind. I'm going to highlight a couple of things here, and you'll find the slides on the page later. So bumper ads, some of you might know, it's not skippable. It's literally 6 seconds ads. They're quite powerful. It reminds people or it teases people or echoes the message. And the bidding model is cost per 1,000 impression, which is CPM. So there's a different algorithm. As you choose a different bidding model or a different format, there's a different algorithm working at the back end. And the measurement models, you know, you need to measure the impressions. Are you getting enough impressions? Are you getting unique reach? What is your frequency? I'm going to touch upon the surveys in a minute after I finish this, but that's also an important measurement factor. On the other one is TrueView in stream, which some people call it pre-roll, or some people call it skippable video ads. It's literally the one that you all know when it appears before a video starts, and there's a skip button for 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, people can skip it. And this is based on the cost per view bidding, which means if someone watches your, if I come across with your video ad and I don't skip it and watch the first 30 seconds of your video, then it's a view. And then the bidding model is cost per view. Then it means we're trying to find people who would like to watch the video. So we're not just showing it to random people. We want to make sure that the people are getting engaged and watch this video. And we're trying to balance that cost per your bidding price with cost per view. And then there's, of course, different measurement impacts on the right side. You can see TrueView for Action is the very latest addition to this, and this is quite powerful. The most important thing here is like your conversion. So this video ad format is trying to find the people who is more likely to be converted based on how you define your conversion. Could be a website actions or lead generation or even sales. And then we have this target CPA or max conversion as a bidding model. And then you can measure the leads, you can measure website conversions. So there are other formats. I'm not going to go into detail like in each of them, but I think this is summarizing. But here, what I want to highlight again, the surveys are quite important. Not only we're measuring the numbers, quantitative figures, but we're also running surveys as you run the ads. So while you're running the ads, the surveys also run as an ad, looks like an ad, and we're showing to the people who have seen the ad and to the people who have not seen the ad. And then we compare the responses, and then we put it in your reporting as well. So, and then there are different surveys for different KPIs. So this was I think the most detailed slide. So, and that's why I put it in the beginning, which will help you to make your media plan. TrueView for shopping, I want to make a highlight here. There's a new updated version, which is really, really important. We used to have the shopping content within the video. Now it's outside of the canvas, which is much more user-friendly. For the ones who don't know, you need to have a shopping campaign that appears on Google search. Then you can link your shopping campaign to your TrueView video ad, where you can specify which products or items will appear on your video ad when it's on YouTube, where people can scroll right to left and then select and go to the page of that specific item to buy the product, as you can see on this screenshot. And TrueView for Action, just wanted to show how it looks. It doesn't look different than any regular pre-rolls or TrueView, but as I mentioned before, the bidding model and the goal is much more different. There's a skippable button there as well, but the additional thing here in the way it look and feel, or the way it looks, sorry, the format is there's extra clickable links, and of course, then you need to think of the content accordingly. It has to become kind of a call to action format, as it's trying to find people who are more likely to convert. And it's on you can see on like different versions, that's landscape and mobile, or there's also an end screen clickable link at the end of the video. In fact, I just wanted to mention also within the formats, you can add location extensions to some of the TrueView ads that I listed there, which might be for some local businesses where they have restaurants or cafes, which, if someone sees the ad, they will be able to click on it, and then they see below, as you can see on the screen, there's a little link where they can see where this place is, or just the location of this place on Google Maps. Audience, very, very important. But one thing I want to highlight here is when we are reaching out to your audience on YouTube, it's not necessarily it doesn't mean that we're only reaching out to people who are just watching the videos. We're reaching out to people who to find their we are reaching out to their intentions, to their behavior. So then the video, if you're targeting, or if that's your goal, then it doesn't matter what kind of video they watch. How do we do that? It's not just YouTube. Here we've been talking about in terms when it comes to audience or targeting. It's also the 7 properties of Google. So think of this like all different lens of Google, which there's no there's a bridge between them. Then we can understand the behavior of the people if you want to target the behavior, regardless of what kind of video they watch. Like, you might want to watch a Bon Jovi music video, but because you've been maybe searching about sneakers or some sports shoes, or you've been going, maybe checking with Google Maps in certain stores, then it's a behavior that we can target and find on YouTube, regardless of what video they watch. Again, just to put it in a very compact way of different targeting within the audience. So all these behavioral signals translated into a different segment group that we can target. And then we can also segment them into different type of, based on your KPI, see, think, do, and care. So if you want to go for upper funnel, reach out to more people, then I would suggest affinity audience. Affinity audience is literally just the interest. So there might be people who are more interested in watching yoga videos, then we can go and find those people who are interested in yoga videos. That's fine. But if you're interested in people who are, who are more shoppers, for example, or who've been shopping all the time in certain product, and then we can choose in-market audience, because that's more intentional, more action-oriented type of targeting. There's one new targeting which is really, really interesting and which is really powerful that I want to go into detail, is custom intent audiences. So custom intent audience, let me explain this a bit better this way. For example, if you're an advertiser on Google search and your ad is appearing on Google search, and then you're targeting, you might be using keyword targeting on Google search, right? And somebody might, maybe 10% of the people who have seen your ad clicks on your ads and then goes to your site, and then they might be converted. So that's very simple keyword targeting on Google search. However, what happens to the other 90%? Your ad has been, getting impressions, but nobody has clicked on it. And they might have been to some other competitor's site, or within that 7 days, if they go to YouTube, then we can find those people. We can find those people. It's not remarketing. It's not the people to recapture the people who've been to your site. It's more about the people who have been searching on Google, but hasn't clicked on your ad, but instead they've been to YouTube watching any video, and then we can be very specific, finding those people based on those keywords that you've listed on. So you can call it like a past search targeting as well, but we named it as custom intent targeting on YouTube. Just a very quick case study here. Wildberries is a retailer. They chose Truby for shopping, and as I was mentioning before, and then they identified their goals. What do they want to do is they wanted to increase concentration. They wanted to have purchase intent, increase in their search terms, views, and clicks, and awareness. So those were the success metric for them. And then they used True for shopping. And then eventually, the one highlight here, they increased their ROI by 123%. So I show this example because there's a lot of different case studies, just to give an example in terms of how you should structure your media strategy while you are while you're constructing your advertisements. Of course, which is a very, very important subject, the creative piece. I love this slide, hypnotizing. So creative is crucially important. I think the other speakers have been talking about this as well. So far, up until now, I've been talking about the media in a nutshell. So there will be, I'm sure, some questions there. But creative, when they look at the success of a certain number of campaigns, with a study that's from Nielsen, they realized that the 49% of the success sits in the creative, the content, and 36% sits in the media plan. If you had a good media plan with using the right formats, right bidding, right targeting, right strategy and combinations, etc. And then, of course, your brand name, like that comes with your brand equity or brand name or business name or your business model. I will just mention a couple of highlights with the creative as a guideline, but I cannot really advise you what creative is better than the other, but I can give you some guidelines on YouTube. So, for example, this was a brand in US, and they've been using the same format, the same video format for their. Sorry, this was a TV format that they used it on the YouTube, and we're getting 70% of the views usually from mobile. So and they had to edit the content, the current content that they have, and they literally zoomed into the main characters in the video because, as I said, most of the people are watching it on mobile, the video. So then it just became more influential. And so a tiny little important thing made a big difference for them, which increased their performance by 15%. Yeah, not to mention again, edit for mobiles. Again, as I said, like it's really, really crucial that whatever you do, test everything on mobile first. As I said, we're getting 70, almost more or less 70% of the views are coming from mobile, and use those big texts, not small text if it's on mobile. But while I'm saying use text, I know creative people wouldn't like it making a lot of text in it. I also agree with that, but if you have a text, just make it bigger so people can see it, but don't use too many texts. This is another one, like having text overlays works as well in terms of getting the engagement, but don't overkill. So when you have it, like in this example with Zegna, define yourself, and there's usually some voice behind it too. That works better than not having at all, not having anything there. Another example, I think this is a great one. So they had the goal to reach out to people who are more likely to convert. They wanted to literally focus on a straight offer because they had a product and they had this discount, and they wanted to make sure that people go and buy this product. So the first video, they didn't have any watermark about their brand. They didn't have no product focused in the content. So, and then we measured with these brand lift surveys. So ad recall is a survey which is asking the question like, have you seen this ad, to the people who have seen the ad or to the people who have not seen the ad, or do you remember this ad? So there has been a lift in 25%, but purchase intent survey, there was no lift. Then they changed it with a watermark and more product focused. And then we see a more lift on the ad recall lift. And then there was a clearer, unique selling point with the product focused within the content, including the watermark and the product focus. Then we had a much better lift. So these minor changes, it really makes a big difference in your advertisement. So I made a sprint of all these big subjects in a nutshell, but coming to the end now. So one thing I want you to remember from this is, please, before you strategize, think of your formats, what video formats you want to use, what kind of audience you want to reach, and we have a lot of different segments and that we can find. You can find by using these different targeting or segments within the audience. Creative, there are some guidelines with YouTube, but you need to think of your brand as well while you're thinking of your audience, and tracking what you want to measure. What is your KPI? What's your goal? How are you going to measure it? And then you will understand if this campaign was successful or not based on your KPIs. Those are the important things I think you should remember, at least from this very fast run through presentation. Thank you very much.
That was great, like spot on time. So thanks, Kamil. That was very brief, through, and also very insightful. I know you can't take any questions from the audience, I know, but I just have one question, if we can make an exception. I was just wondering, because you've emphasized the creative a lot, and I was just wondering if there is kind of like, if there are any general rules that brands could follow when it comes to the creative. Is there a better creative for TrueView for Action versus any other advertising type? Should the creative be long or short? Like, how do you kind of like position that when it comes to the creative versus the ad format?
Yeah, thank you, Bengü. That's a good question. So we get this question like, oh, shall I have a, does the long videos work or short videos work? So that shouldn't be the question. The question should be, what is your KPI? What is your goal? Like, do you want to get people converted? Do you want people to buy your product and go to lower funnels by using the right audience? Then you should have a creative more like a call to action, which then you can tell this story in 15 seconds to 20 seconds. That's more like call to action. Like you have maybe sales in your department, or in your store, or on your website. Black Friday is a big thing. It's coming, so you want people to get to buy something as soon as possible because it's sales. Then 15 seconds. Then you can have short videos like that. But if you're launching a product and if you want to reach out to a much larger audience and bigger volumes, then you can have a longer length of a video, 30 seconds. There's some videos that are amazing, that created a huge domino effect within the YouTube community, like 3 minutes videos where people share it organically. That's amazing success as well. So it's a matter of like what you want to achieve, going back to my initial thing and the end, which I also highlighted. What do you want to achieve from this? That's the question you should ask it to your mind. But technically, while you're doing this, when it comes to creative, think mobile first. Test everything on mobile. Do your editings on mobile, and then you can consider the desktop, because 70% of the views on YouTube are coming from mobile. It is quite important.
Speaking of mobile, actually, there's a question. I know you can't take questions, but it's just, is there when kind of creating the creative or making sure that it's speaking to the mobile experience, is there a specific tool within YouTube advertising or Google advertising that we could test for mobile, to your knowledge, or is it just we also have to consider how the content would actually appear and look on mobile when it comes to kind of creating the creative?
Yeah, so we actually have there is not specifically for mobile, but there's I can't remember now, like it's just been recently launched, where you can test your video product, but it's not specific for mobile. But you can test your creative. Let me find out. I forgot the name. I'm terrible with those names. And because whenever we launch something and then we change the name, like there's an internal name and then there's an external name, and then I don't want to now say anything. But there's one platform where you can at least test your creatives, but not specifically for mobile.
We can always follow up, no problem.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks, Kamil. This was really insightful. Great having you here. It has been a pleasure, and thanks for your time. It's really nice to have somebody put a face. When it comes to Google and YouTube, it's a bit difficult to get a hold of, but so thanks. It was really, really good. And with that, I think we are going to be switching to our next session. If anybody wants to follow up, where do they find you on LinkedIn and also on Twitter, maybe?
To be honest, I use LinkedIn more, so they can feel free to message me from LinkedIn, and you can find me with my name and surname. So that would be the easiest, I think, and happy to get some answers as much as I can.
That is brilliant. Perfect. We've just dropped off your LinkedIn handle on in the live chat if anyone wants to follow up, and that was really insightful. So with that, we are going to move on to our next session. And thanks, Kamil, again. Hope to kind of do another session with you in the near future.
Great. Thank you. That was my pleasure. Have a good night and enjoy the rest of the session. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.
Hello.
Hey. Hi.
Hey, Bengü. How are you doing?
I am very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you. Congratulations on your first 3 sessions.
Thank you.
That's a long time to be live.
I know. Now I can like hand it over to you.
Yeah, virtual baton.
Exactly. And step back.